Hey, everyone.
Hey, everyone.
We're back.
Vada.
We're here.
Hi, everyone.
This is Jeannie.
This is Matt.
This
You're
is Sabrina.
your host?
Oh, Matt.
Am I the host?
You
Yeah.
are.
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
Definitely.
Sure.
Yeah.
Great.
You're the constant, babe.
I'm the constant.
That's right.
When there's a pause,
Yes.
he asks the question.
He does. And
Right.
there was a time in the last episode where it's like things patter out, and then all three of your heads turned directly and looked at him at the exact same time, and Matt's like,
Matt,
sounds good to me.
What do we do?
and I was like, he's so good
He
at
goes,
that.
and
He's
this is
great
Matt.
at figuring out how to turn it. Like, it was awesome.
He's like, I guess I'm gonna have to ground this shit right now.
All right, guys. Yeah. Let's bring it back to what we're talking
Engage
about. Yeah.
lightning rod mode.
Like, what
It's
are we
all-
talking
The
about?
secret is it's all in the pause. Don't be afraid to pause and have silence. It's okay.
Oh, that's
That's
A
the
lesson
secret.
for my whole
a
life.
lesson for every day.
It's a lesson for Pitta season
I've
if we're gonna bring this on topic right now.
I
Well, I mean,
definitely
let's
have
not-
been practicing the pause.
Well, let's not whip it around the season just
Whip
yet.
it.
Front desks,
Oh.
check-ins, random cold opens.
Ooh.
Oh,
you know-
that's new.
Well,
Cold
I mean,
opens.
I'm thinking of like SNL.
SNL, yeah.
Right, it's a cold open, or like the open for a Bond movie.
Yeah.
Usually has nothing to do with the movie. It's just
Right.
a cool thing that
Yeah.
happens, and it's like,
Mhm.
oh yeah. Anything going on? Front desks.
Well,
Oh,
oh,
we just
Rock,
had
paper,
Reggae
scissors?
Fest.
Reggae Fest.
yeah, that's all I was gonna say.
I figured.
Well, it's really happened
Reggae
so far.
Fest.
It was amazing. I mean, 150 people registered for Sun Salutations. I think there were about 80 there. And
Josh and I bet we
did.
were like half.
Yeah,
We were like,
probably
it was-
around
it was-
half will
It was
show.
over half.
Oh,
It was
okay.
definitely over half.
Because it was like
though,
10
so that's
minutes
nice.
before, and we
Yeah,
were
yeah.
like,
And then all of a sudden, everyone
doesn't look
filtered
like
in.
150.
Yeah.
So how many will we get?
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
it's fun too because I'm sure people are like doing the math. They're like, okay, we gotta do Sun Salutations from 9 to 10:30 to get 108 of them in. I'm gonna show up at 9:45.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, good idea.
I'll jump
That's
in
me
at
too.
sun salutation number 37.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a sun salutation.
Let's make it
before.
to 54
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
see how we do.
I like that.
Yeah, it was a beautiful event. We have very big aspirations around being a part of Reggae Fest. And I have had this intention from the beginning because I start off having like sneaky intentions and then eventually I let other people know what they are. And I have always just envisioned that Saturday would be Reggae Fest. And because the infrastructure is already there, we could easily produce without huge amount of cost Ithaca Yoga Fest on Sunday. So it'd be kind of like party, dance, do whatever you need to do on Saturday, right? And then come down on Sunday and recalibrate.
And come down on Sunday.
You know, some restorative yoga, some yin, some breathing exercises in case you visited the tent that was next to the little stage.
This is New York.
Or-
This is New York.
This is
Anywhere-
New York.
It is legal.
or anywhere in its periphery.
That's
It
right.
was within gust distance.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
So maybe we do some,
Pranayama.
detox.
Detox
Yes.
pranayama.
Well,
Some
it's,
chanting.
I think it's great for a Sunday because it makes you think of festivals or cons or something that last over the weekend, like Grassroots.
Mm-hmm.
And Sunday definitely has a different vibe.
It's a chill vibe.
It's
Yes.
much more chill, which is necessary because Saturday is usually like peak party
yeah.
vibe.
Mhm.
Definitely.
So like, yeah, the reggae concert fest and then the chill yoga day. I think that is a natural 1-2 punch.
I think
Yeah.
it's been like a progression, at
Mhm.
least over the last 3 years that I've been involved.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like,
Very intentional.
yeah, very, very
Definitely.
intentional.
Like,
Yes.
And next year, I think we're ready to amp it up.
I
Yeah.
think so too.
Go full force. With
It's going to take some
Sunday.
fundraising because, like, if we do, I mean, it's tricky. We probably could get, I think we could get DJ Tez. I think we could get MC Yogi because they'll probably come back for the Berkshire Yoga Fest, which will still be the weekend prior
Awesome.
next
Mhm.
year. Krishna Das won't perform outside.
Really?
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Is that in his rider?
Yeah, it
Like-
might just be like the sound and like, I don't know.
It has more to do with like wanting to set up equipment and being concerned about the elements of that equipment. And I suppose like if your band has, I mean, harmoniums can't be left outside. They're very temperamental,
Mhm.
right? Like the environment for a harmonium can't be too dry or too humid or it messes with the bellows
Mhm.
of
Right.
the instrument, right?
Yeah.
So if it rains, that's going to have an impact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when I wrote to them and was communicating with Nina Rao, who typically performs with him on a lot of touring, she was like, we can't do it,
Yeah.
you know? And I don't think that the big pavilion at the park is quite big enough to do Krishna Das. I mean, it could be like an exclusive event.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But that's the only like,
I would get a ticket for that.
Oh, it'd be
Right.
awesome.
Yeah, it would
Yeah.
be amazing.
Oh, it'd be so sick.
So that
Yeah.
sounds like it's a legitimate concern, not like a brown M&M kind of thing.
right.
Or no
Like
brown
it
M&Ms?
is legitimate concern. I get it.
Okay.
And but so I was trying to think of like what other cool things would we be having. I was already brainstorming about Yoga Fest.
Sabrina has a
Yes.
question?
I was just wondering the brown M&M thing.
Oh, that's
I
from
was
like
looking
a,
at Josh, but Josh.
Well, it's
didn't
like a
look to me.
rider thing, like where some people are just
bands.
Oh,
can't
I
remember who it
understand. No
was,
brown
but
was
M&M.
it Van
Some
Halen?
I think
people
Van
prefer
Halen.
the brown M&Ms
Where
though
they're
because they
like-
think it's more natural. I don't know.
There's not.
I think Van Halen were not those people.
Yeah.
To pick out
so
the
It said no
M&Ms?
brown
they're like,
Okay.
no brown M&Ms. And
But
apparently
that
they're-
wasn't. It
Well
wasn't
caught up.
brown, was it? Wasn't it green?
I don't remember.
It was
The,
one of the kind.
the outline of the story is they made. I don't know if they did this actually intentional or just to be like ridiculous rock stars. Like we would like a bowl of M&Ms, no brown ones, and then like they had brown ones in the bowl once, and they like trashed the hotel. And,
Oh, wow.
yeah,
Break a
typical
contract.
rock star stuff.
It was diva behavior.
Oh,
Yeah.
totally. Oh, David Lee Roth? You kidding me?
Yeah, that's right. The king of it.
Do you know what a rider is?
No.
No.
Yeah.
It probably didn't look like it did. I
Yeah.
was like, you
I
guys.
was like, if you're gonna ask me to explain it, then I'm gonna say no.
I'm
right.
also like,
just go no.
they were trying to explain to you, and I was like, no. Now you have to explain a different thing.
Different
Oh,
thing.
You
Right.
had
okay.
to. So it's like, I'm not going to show up and perform unless these
Oh,
standards
okay. Yeah,
are
we've
met,
talked about this
right?
before.
Because
Just-
I was
okay, yeah.
like, I said something, I think when we were in Panama,
Yeah.
where I was like, that's
The
it, I'm
morning
putting together
coffee. Right?
a
Well,
rider.
It's just you're spoiled when you go to Imaloa and
Yeah.
Right.
you know, they deliver the morning coffee
The
and we're
drinks.
like,
Oh,
that's
yeah,
it.
that's right.
That's
well,
it.
I'm
We're never
spoiled
going
in
anywhere
my day-to-day
again.
life because
Yeah,
I get a
'cause
coffee
you-
delivery every morning. So then
Yeah.
I'm on vacation spot, and
Like,
And
And
don't
we
have
do.
that.
and I have
Right.
to like work all day and teach a bunch of workshops. I'm like, where is my morning coffee delivery?
Yeah.
The fact that I am making my own coffee at 5:30 in the morning to go lead chant in an hour is a problem.
Yeah.
So
That's
that's
not
That's in the
Well-
that's the writer's job.
yeah.
I mean, you are endearing
Oh.
and persevering without the coffee. Enduring, I guess is the word.
For
You
those
are
of you that
enduring
are watching
and
this, he's holding my
persevering.
How you
hands
doing?
right now.
Sarcasm a little bit, but I also still love you.
Mm-hmm.
So, what are we actually here to talk about? Not tour riders, but
Yep, Matt. What are we here to talk about?
totally blanked.
What are we
Because
What season?
how
Seasonal
we,
We're here in the
See-
seasonal change.
and how we deal with it for the season that we just moved into,
Mhm.
which is Pitta season.
Thank you.
Yes,
Yep.
Matt. Nailed it.
Been messing that up all week, calling it Vata, and boy,
No.
was I wrong. Pitta
No.
season,
Pitta season.
fire season.
It is fire season.
Do we want to assume that some listeners don't know what that means?
Yes.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Go for
I
it.
think so. So we're talking about the system of Ayurveda, and within the system of Ayurveda, there are 3 types of presentation of constitution in your body and your mind, and the way that you interact with the natural world, as well as this system applying to all things out in nature. So, you know, plant life, animals, food that you eat, the weather, the climate, the time of year, everything has an alignment with a dosha. There are 3 doshas, Kapha, Vata, and Pitta. We're not going to talk about Vata or Kapha right now.
But they're also
Earth.
loosely based on the
Air.
elements of earth, air, fire, water,
Fire.
and each of the 2,
And ether.
each of the 3, right? Earth, air, fire, water, ether,
Mm-hmm.
and each one of these 3 is a combination of 2 or 3 of them.
2.
Only 2 of them.
Mhm.
Okay. So each,
Yeah, so it's based in elements.
Yeah.
He knows what he's talking about.
That's right. He
Yeah.
knows
He
all
knows.
about it.
Talking
He's been
about.
listening.
It's almost like he has to
Yeah.
listen to all our classes and make
I've
transcripts
been
or
paying
something.
attention.
That's
That's
like
right.
America needs librarians.
That's-
So
That's true. You're
That's right.
I was like, wait, he's not wearing that shirt. How did he has a
No.
T-shirt that says that too?
I do. So we're in Pitta season,
Yeah.
which is fire and
Water.
water. Okay.
It's steamy.
It is. It is steamy. That
That's
makes
for
me think
sure.
of Reggae Fest. It was very hot that day.
It
Oh,
was
wow.
the perfect Pitta day.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that
Yes,
was a Pitta
it
day.
was overload. Pitta overload for us, for sure.
And
So
poor
go-
Josh is on the stage
Yeah.
singing, which performing music also has a dosha. It is primarily Pitta and Vata.
Mhm.
So those elements show up when you're playing an instrument and when you're using your vocal instrument, which Josh was doing before. And we were on a stage that was painted black, but then had a clear roof. So
Wow.
it was like basically being in a
Greenhouse?
a greenhouse.
Yeah.
It was. It was
I
crazy
didn't
up
really
there.
realize
It was
that.
so hot up
It
there.
was like when I got off the stage into the sun, I was like, "Oh, thank God!"
Yeah.
I was like, "Wow, that was like an oven." Because
It-
I was. Whew.
It was so intense. Like Francine's teaching dance. She's like, my feet are burning. I was like, please stand on the sheepskin. Stand on the sheepskin. Like
Her phone in the shade overheated.
her
Yeah.
phone
and
turned
stopped
off.
playing the music.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't know what I was thinking recording the 108 sun salutations because I did go over and it's
'cause
like
your phone overheated.
So if
too.
anyone was watching that
Wow.
on the Facebook Live,
it overheated.
Earth apologies.
Pitta.
Yeah, right.
It overheated.
Pitta season.
It is.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Now, can I just pause?
Mhm.
I've never thought when I think of doshas
Mhm.
and all the constitutions, I never thought of them in the context of an activity.
Me neither.
I always thought like food,
Yeah.
right? Mainly
Mhm.
food or maybe behavior patterns like sleep, usually sleep and food is
Yeah.
how I think of them. Never thought of like an activity.
Yeah.
So
I
once
love
you just
that.
said that, I'm like, that's just like a whole new way.
this
it's a
of
is
whole nother
really,
world.
right.
This
It's
is
a
a
whole
really,
new.
it's
yeah.
a really fun game to play.
It
So
is.
when I was learning Ayurveda from a 5th generation Ayurvedic medicine man, we would meet just one-on-one because this is how a lot of Ayurveda, this is how yoga was originally taught. It wasn't like a room full of people learning a thing, right? So we would meet and he would give me, it felt very like Karate Kid.
They give you this random tasks to
Yes,
do.
where I'm like, how does this have anything to do?
He's like, mow my lawn. He's like, you'll learn the lesson later.
Trust me.
It wasn't that. It wasn't any manual labor, thank God. But he would be like, we're going to sit on the porch and cars are going to drive by and you're going to tell me the dosha of the car. And I'm like, what?
Okay.
And then
Brilliant.
and I'm like, okay. So a car would drive, like a red sports car would drive by. That would be an easy one, right?
Yeah.
And I'd be like, this is a Pitta car because it's fast. It's red in color. It looks like fire. It was loud,
Yeah.
had like one of those mufflery things to make things sound very, overtly masculine. Lots of that energy going on. And so that was an easy one. And then like a Toyota Corolla, gray would drive by just like burp, 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 burp.
Wow. I feel called out right
And
now.
I'm like, I don't know what the dosha is. Like,
the most dependable, reliable dosha there is.
I mean, I don't think I would
Earth
have.
on top of earth.
I don't think I would have put it as kapha.
Yeah, maybe
Because kapha's
Vata,
more
though.
like a minivan.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know,
More solid.
like
Yeah.
you're not going fast ever in a
No.
minivan.
Like,
That
I think if you- I
Corolla
think if
probably
you're
could have gone
putt-putting,
fast.
I think if you're putt-putting and you're kind of out there, then it's probably Vata.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean the gray makes me think of ether, air,
Mhm.
space, right?
Really?
So there wasn't necessarily a wrong answer, a right answer. It was like, let's
The
talk
thinking
about
of
the
it.
thing
Yeah.
You're
Yes.
thinking about it, yeah.
and then like back it
putting
up.
it into
Right, yeah.
Critical thinking.
Well,
it was
I mean,
brilliant.
It's
Good way to
brilliant.
teach. Yeah.
It's just because you can give any answer you want,
Mhm.
but you have to support it with
have to support it.
something. Yeah.
then
the
you could go to a
characteristic
parking
of
lot and
that
see who gets
particular
out
dosha.
of the cars.
Right. And
And
then
be
see
like,
if their dosha
oh.
matches
Their
with their car
I
dosha.
definitely think, I mean, definitely think it's true about my car and my partner's car. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
We got a minivan.
you have a minivan.
We made the jump.
and you are very Pitta.
Yes.
And Francine's very Vata.
Yes.
Maybe teeters on some tridoshic
Yeah.
element, but I would say predominantly Vata.
Yes.
And so maybe you purchased the car because it's like this grounding element.
Also, you needed
Oh,
the
yeah.
space.
And you need the space.
Yes.
But
You know,
I was
junk
pushing
in the
for it.
trunk.
Yes, I was pushing for it for a
We
long
had
time.
we had a minivan when we went to Laguna Beach, California, not too long ago, and I was like, "They're giving us it's a minivan.
Did you bring the boys?
No.
Oh.
It was just Blair and I.
They
It was
actually have become so much.
And then
nicer,
I was
gotta
like,
say.
this
It's like
is
a best
cool.
car I've ever had.
I was like, this is the best thing. Yeah.
It is. They're
Yeah.
cool now. Like
So
it's
cool.
like there's something. And
Shout
now
out to
every time when I
minivan
see it, I'm like,
geeks.
I love that car.
Love that car.
But
Yeah.
just having enough space is so much
Yeah.
better than not having
Trying to
Yeah.
cram things
Yeah,
in.
it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Totally.
So,
So in the realm of like what to wear for Reggae Fest Day, right?
Wait, hold on. What?
What to wear for Reggae Fest
How
Day.
do we get back to Reggae Fest?
In correlation to the
Pizza
season.
Oh, okay.
Because, over the years I've definitely learned myself, and it's like, what is it going to take for me to be comfortable today?
Uh-huh.
If I get wet, how am I going to be comfortable?
Ready for rains.
If it rains, how am I going to be? No, I'm actually meant from like sweat.
sweating.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Sweating.
First, and then if it rains, that aspect too. So I ended up being really comfortable and embracing, like, I mentally, like, it's hot.
Mm-hmm.
Sabrina, it's hot.
There's going to be sweat.
You're gonna sweat. It's going to be fire, right?
Yes.
So much sweat.
In more ways
Oh
than
my
one,
God.
it's gonna be fire, and yeah, I felt really good.
And so Pitta people need to be aware
Mhm.
of, like, because this is always the scenario, right? Like, you can resist what is seasonally, or you can embrace what is seasonally and recognize what you need in order to be comfortable within that season. Otherwise, you're going to spend like 2/3 of the year being uncomfortable because
And
it's
being
not working
angry,
for your
like,
dosha.
yeah.
Angry.
You're gonna
Right.
be
Angry.
uncomfortable
There's nothing
and
worse.
irritated,
Yeah.
right?
And you know what's fun
yeah.
in the wintertime is when I get angry because my kapha gets so agitated and I'm freezing and still and like don't want to move because I'm so cold. And so like there's all these ways that you have to be able to seasonally adapt. Otherwise your dosha gets so out of balance.
Especially if you're one you don't like to wear socks, but you got cold feet. And yeah. Socks,
And you
right.
can have cold feet and still continue to not wear socks.
Yeah.
That's right.
And then be mad.
That's your option.
That's yeah.
That's right.
Why did I sit next
I
to him?
go through that. I go through that
Because
every winter.
Yeah.
Like
So what are some things? And I have. So I was very intentional about being like, obviously you're always here because you're the host, needing Josh to be here because the two of you have interesting. Like Pitta is pretty high up there. Your kapha and Pitta is pretty balanced, and so it is dependent on season, which one presents itself more.
Totally.
And when it is summertime, you are in full Pitta mode.
oh yeah.
You are Pitta Vata.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have that extreme Pitta that rises up in the summer heat
Oh my
as
God,
well.
Yeah.
And so what are some things that you know that you have to do in the summer months?
Oh, I have like a whole over the years have learned like a whole strategy, and it's all about like sweat management. Because once the heat picks up, it's inevitable that my face will be soaked no matter where I go, what I do. Like even in my bag right now, it's perfect. I have like almost essentially like a go bag with another t-shirt.
yeah.
Because it's just like one to wipe my face, literally just grab one on the way out just to wipe my face, and then
I feel like yeah, this is a good idea.
yeah, well, I need this like for later, and then another shirt just in case I sweat through my shirt, like where I'm so wet, like
Yeah.
whatever, and then like a dry fit hat, because really my main Pitta annoyance is sweat on my face. Because it's just consistently like in my eyes. It like I
Yeah.
lose my vision because my eyes are so covered in sweat if I don't like wipe it, and so that is like the ultimate anger for me.
Yeah.
It's like that because as I'm wiping it, I'm still sweating. I'm getting hotter because I'm angry, and it's
Right.
like it
Well,
starts
it's
to
like
build
the,
up, and
the
so it's
sweat
like
is supposed to cool you down.
Yes.
But how do you not wipe it off your head and your
Your
face? So it's
face,
like
yeah.
it's gonna keep coming back.
Yeah.
So.
well, and like it, when I'm cooking, it's like it can drip into whatever. It's like I am like my face especially is like my main annoyance, like my face and my head.
Interesting.
And so it's just always, wearing a hat is the best because that will allow it to not just drip consistently, but then eventually I'll need a new hat.
But then it holds the heat in too.
Well, that's why I
Right.
use like a dry fit
Yeah.
hat.
You need
so like
some
there's
sweat
runners
bands.
hats. I know.
Yeah.
80s style.
I know.
Wow.
Like the sweatbands that just go
I
around
do.
your head.
I swear to God, if I don't have a hat
That's
available, I
fun.
do like what I.
Yeah.
Josh,
buy a
I'm going to
t-shirt.
request that you wear
Yeah.
that to the next podcast recording.
I will.
Please.
I'll do it. I will.
I want to see your sweatband.
I will. I'll show you.
We
Well,
can
I
get
mean-
one with a little yoga farm logo.
I was gonna
on it.
take one of
A little
the
Pitta
skull
fire
caps and just
symbol.
cut the top off,
Yes.
so I could just wear it like
My
when I
God.
run.
So good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the moisture wicking technology nowadays.
Oh, it's the best.
It really is amazing.
Life-saving.
It
Yes,
is. It
it
is so
is.
cooling and it's so good at keeping you dry. So like there are hats
Uh-huh.
that you can help wick sweat away and keep the sun off your head, out of your face.
And it also is
Yeah.
cooling, like
Yeah.
because it's like the Under Armour stuff. It's
Mhm.
like when it gets wet, it actually cools you down,
I had
Yeah.
no idea.
which
Yep.
is like the best. That's literally
Yeah.
the only fabric I wear now, even in the winter.
Oh, wow.
It's like I wear like this, like sports, whatever. It's like
Yeah.
dry,
Under Armour
dry fit,
type
I
stuff.
think it's
Yeah.
called.
Yep.
Like,
As someone who is perpetually cold,
mhm.
this is not a thing I've ever realized.
Right.
was a
And
thing.
I am now like sweat management. Like I have never like really considered that. I mean, I definitely like okay, what shorts am I wearing? What shirt? Make sure it's like not too thick for how hot. And
I mean, you were
know,
sweaty
oh.
from vacuuming yesterday. Or
I was wearing a sweatshirt though. 'Cause
Monday.
It was really cool outside. It was
Mm.
like in almost 50s outside.
Yeah, I
really
loved
That
cold
was
on
the
Monday.
best
was
thing in
nice.
the whole
It
world.
was so breezy.
Oh my God.
It was super
I went on the
breezy.
longest run, just like, oh my, it was 50 degrees out. I didn't wear just
Yeah.
a t-shirt and shorts, and I
Yeah.
loved it.
So
I'm like, I'm not running.
for those of you listening, if you don't know what your dosha is, right? That's common for people to not know. One question you can ask yourself is, when the weather significantly drops in temperature, what is your response to that?
Mhm.
Are you like, oh my God, it's freezing? Where did the summer go? It was here yesterday. Or are you like, thank the goddess, we are no longer walking around in an inferno? If it is option B, it is highly likely you have a lot of pitta. Highly likely.
Definitely.
Yeah, I did enjoy that brief little respite.
Oh, it was
Only
so
because
great.
the weekend before it was very like there was that whole week
Oh, it was
was hot.
well,
It
and
was-
like even for us, like we were like we had to go home and let the boys rest for a minute. They fell asleep immediately when they got in the air conditioning, and then it's like, all right, we're gonna go back. Let's go back. And then like every time I walked outside, it was like tunnel vision. Like I was like, oh my gosh,
Uh-huh.
it's so like
Right.
suffocatingly
It really is.
like humid more than anything else. So humidity for me is way worse than just straight up heat.
Yeah.
Because of that, like I get actually anxious when I start to sweat so much because it's like I can't maintain it, you know, and
Yeah.
it just is for whatever reason. So yeah, that's a
Because pitta
Pitta.
season is fire and water,
Mhm.
and humidity is fire,
Fire and
and
water.
water. So
Yep.
you're just adding more of this
Yes.
into the
Right, and
recipe, and it's so imbalanced so quickly that it feels oppressive. It feels like
Yes.
a wet, hot blanket
yeah.
Well, it's funny.
on
it's,
your whole body.
It's interesting. I'm thinking of Enneagram and astrology, where you read about your type or your sign, and you try to do things according to that.
Mm.
But this Ayurveda, the dosha, is almost like you need to make sure you do the opposite and balance it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right? Like you're
Right.
gonna.
Totally.
What's the opposite of the earth, the air, the fire, and the water? To
Right.
cool, you know what I
Like
mean?
what
It's like
could
I don't
come
want to
in to
lean in.
balance
I am
out
like if I
this-
am fire and water, I don't want to do more fire and water. No, I need to like even that
Yeah.
out, kind of thing. So it's like a
Exactly.
reverse approach.
Unless
Well, you
your
might
fire's
wanna
also
do-
imbalanced.
You
know,
might want to
so-
do water
Yep.
Mhm.
as long as it's cool,
Mhm.
right? So there's the cooling aspect. And you can take it into the realm of literal, right? So if there was a hot, steaming fire in front of you, what would you do to put that fire out?
Mhm.
Mhm.
You would probably put some water on it, cold water on it, cool water on it. You also might put some dirt on it
Mhm.
to,
Mm.
you know?
Yeah.
So how are you
Mud
bringing in
mass.
the
Yeah.
earth
Yeah, right.
element, right?
Yeah.
Are you able to get into like
Nature.
salt water
Right.
Mhm.
because the added salt element is very
A
earthy.
cool shower.
Mhm.
Not maybe a cold shower, but a cool shower.
Feet on cold rocks.
Well, it's
Yeah.
definitely the other part of my system is I always have half-filled frozen water bottles in the freezer.
Oh, that's a good
So that
idea.
you take
yeah.
it out, you put water in it, and then you shake it up, and it's just the
Yeah.
coldest water in history. Like it's like that's what. And I have like 4 in the freezer at all times because it's the most amazing way to bring it back. I drink the most water.
Mm.
Like
That's good.
Well, you
I have
to.
a like 2-gallon water bottle, like one of
So
those. It looks like a 7-Eleven like super
Like a
size
super
thing.
gulp?
Like
Big
yeah,
gulps?
super
Big
big gulp.
gulp?
Yeah, super big gulp, and it is like lifesaver for
Wow.
me. That is a
I-
huge part of it.
I do have to say, that according to Ayurveda,
That's not right. You're supposed to do.
we don't drink iced beverages.
Oh.
What?
Yeah.
Ah,
But they're so delicious.
It's harder for your body
to
to
digest for
o-
sure.
absorb,
Mhm.
and
Really?
and then it's gonna create more heat in the body, warming the water.
Yeah.
Actually,
Huh.
so you're
Sure.
a little bit working against yourself. You could probably go with more of like tepid water if you're adding in mint, if you're
Okay.
adding in cucumber. So
Also
You
great
know,
things.
Yeah.
just like maybe
Little
even
splash of
migrating
turmeric.
from like freezer bottles to fridge bottles. So it's like you have to do things incrementally. I think it's tricky to talk about Ayurveda in like a prescriptive manner because it's one size fits one. So these are just suggestions,
Yeah.
and we have to do things that are sustainable. So if it's like the only way to get me to drink water is to put, lemons and honey in it, regardless of my dosha, it's good for me to drink water. So I'm going to do that.
Right.
Right.
So if that's how you're going to drink water, drink the water. You
Right.
need the water. And we can make incremental changes. So maybe move it to the refrigerator, but then fill it with cucumbers and
Right, and just
mint
notice
leaves.
if you feel more hydrated or, if your
Cucumbers.
body actually feels cooler, you're like, oh,
Cucumbers are
actually-
such a cooling,
Yeah.
The most
Thing.
hydrating thing ever. Yeah.
Yeah.
cooling, hydrating. I
Cucumber
mean,
water is
cucumber
amazing.
water, cucumber sandwiches. You guys made
Eye
cucumber
patches.
sandwiches?
Those are good.
Eye patches, like a pirate,
Yeah.
cucumber
I
pirate.
don't know if I would walk around with them
Hey.
or like just cut the holes at the
Anything to
seeds
stay
are.
cool. Yeah, anything to stay cool.
Like, this is a hot one, guys. I gotta
Make a
get
little mask out of cucumbers
That
and
would
walk
be cool.
around that
Yeah.
way.
Just
In Green Star.
it's just cucumbers with
Around
a
here, no one would even blink.
Do you put? It's true.
It's true.
no one even
Do you
blink
put,
be
at
like-
all.
you put lettuce in your hat.
Oh.
That's
Yeah.
what someone.
Cabbage.
That's
Cabbage.
Yeah.
what I think.
Breastfeeding.
Cabbage.
Yes,
It's
cabbage.
anti-inflammatory.
I
One of the
think that's
my
what
favorite
like.
things.
I mean,
don't know.
that's the thing about Pitta season is like you can definitely get inflamed.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, inflammation can rise up anywhere in the body
Mhm.
during Pitta season. Even if you wouldn't consider yourself a very fiery person, you might have an uptick of inflammation in the summer.
I don't know if I read this or if this was on a movie. The like old timey baseball players would put like
Made
a
it
thing
up.
of cabbage. Maybe Babe Ruth did it. Like a leaf of cabbage in his hat on a hot day to help him
I
cool
believe
it
it.
down.
That's cool.
That's yes.
That's a
Yeah.
good idea.
Yeah, I think I heard that somewhere.
I mean, because it is a breastfeeding.
Yeah.
Like if
It's a
your
lifesaver.
if your breasts are inflamed
Mhm.
and you have mastitis or there's any kind of like engorgement, you can put cabbage leaves in your
Wow.
bra and it will take that all down, take the swelling down.
Fascinating.
You know,
It's very
everything
cool.
that we need is the solution is somewhere in nature.
Grow it in the
whether
garden, man.
we know what it is or not.
Wow.
Yeah, we got cabbage leaves right outside the studio in the
There we
planter.
go.
There we go.
I'm putting one in
You're
my
gonna
hat.
Put some on your, both are gonna put some on your heads when
Yeah,
you leave.
that's right.
Stay tuned for a Instagram reel. of
Oh,
that.
That's right,
yeah.
exactly. As long as it's
Coming
ready,
in,
I'll
they'll
do
have
it.
like
I would.
cabbage coming out of their armpits.
Tuck it into my socks.
That's right.
Can I mention something that I noticed during Pitta season,
Yeah.
summer? I am
90%.
filled with an almost unfathomable amount of energy.
90% more energy.
Like
Mhm.
the sun rises at like
4:30.
5,
Yeah,
right?
4:35,
Yeah, like
yeah.
5:20 or something
Yeah.
right now.
And
It's
he is
crazy.
at
Late
the golf
June.
course 10 minutes later.
Yeah.
There
Late
we go. I
June.
love it.
late June, and it's
Like the doctor
5:20.
says, you have to have that vitamin D. That's why we take those supplements, especially in the wintertime. Like,
Yeah, I could be awake at 5:20,
Mhm.
no problem.
Yeah,
Yep.
me too.
6 months from now, 7:30, I'm still like,
Ah.
not
Yeah.
to this. It's just
You take less naps in the summertime. Like,
Oh.
unless we're doing a
Right.
lot of outside beauty.
now between it being summer, so I don't need a nappy nap as much. Although I'm a pop up, so to sneak one in is always good.
Always good. Yeah. You've earned it.
And the transcendental meditation,
Mhm.
which helps with that like nervous system
Stay
body
tuned for
refresh.
more.
Yeah.
Like that really is almost like a nap, so that helps too. Yesterday, I was awake at 3 a.m.
You were.
and like because I knew I was gonna wake up at 5 to go play golf, and I had that like kind of excited. I don't want to oversleep. Like I want to make sure I'm awake. So like
But what is that, though?
I drifted in and
Vada.
out of sleep. Like I didn't go back to sleep. Maybe drifted off. So it was like at 3 a.m, and then I played golf, and then I had the whole day. Didn't take a nap, and I went to bed at like 11,
Yeah.
and I was okay.
You
Like I
we're
could
more
not.
than okay.
I could not pull that off in the wintertime.
Mm.
Not a chance.
I just love that you are Disney World level excited at 3:00 in the morning about going to Cortland and playing golf in the morning.
I totally get it.
It's so cute. It's so cute. I do like to go with him when he plays golf and just like ride around in the golf cart.
Yeah,
and
it's
drink coffee.
awesome.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm not going at 5:20 in the morning. Like I like to get up at 6:30 in the summertime. Like that's my sweet spot. If I can just wake up magically at 6:30,
Right.
I feel so excited about
Yeah.
that. But being on the golf course at 5:30.
It's great.
There's
It's like-
something so serene
it's
about it.
because,
It's actually hard to
like,
Well,
I-
it's also because he then can be home and done by
Yes.
8
Oh, it's
a.m.
the best
I
thing
am-
in the world.
I've been home for 10 minutes by 8:00 in the morning.
Mhm.
Yeah.
The only traffic out there are
Yeah,
the
there's
mowers.
nothing. Yeah.
There's no one. And like, because I got super platinum level member status, so all that means is
He goes
Last
out all the
year-
time.
last year I was there so often in the morning
Yeah.
waiting for like the carts to come out. The guy that like one of the dudes that runs the place, Bruce, is like, I'm just gonna give you your own cart key. So when you get here, just go. The first time I played this year, he's like, you know what? I'm gonna give you your own cart. Come back in when you're done. So there's like an upper barn that has like 5 or 6 carts, and he's like,
That's amazing.
he's like, take this one. You've got to put my name
He was
on it.
basically like,
So he's like,
I don't want to have to worry about being here at 5:30
no,
in the
Right.
morning.
or like,
hell yeah.
or it's
That's
like
perfect.
you don't have to wait, like, because
Yeah.
I go there, they haven't like opened. The
Right.
carts aren't out yet. So like I'm on like the 4th hole by 6,
Mhm.
and like yeah, it's so
That's
awesome.
some Pitta energy.
It is serious Pitta energy
It-
that does not exist post
Right.
November 1st. That's
Yeah, I
for
was gonna
sure.
say
Yeah.
Halloween is when it's done.
Huge nosedive forward into,
Really
you know,
lean into that kaffa.
it's like, let's get up at 7:30 and then by 5:30
Mm-hmm.
at night,
Start counting the minutes.
Matt's
until I
like-
go to bed.
Matt's like, how much longer do we have to be awake? Is it
That's me.
reasonable
I'm
to
like,
go to
is
bed
it-
yet?
Is
Yeah,
it
we-
too early to go into the room?
Seriously.
And Blair's usually like, it's still light out.
Yeah, it's still
Like-
light out now.
I'm like, it's
Light
totally
out.
fine.
Oh yeah.
It's
I
still light
have
out.
3 hours after sunset, whenever that is during the year.
Mm-hmm.
After that, I'm done.
Yeah.
So it could be like even we were having a fire the other day, and it was after 9, and like the sky. To
Yeah,
the
it
west
wasn't completely
wasn't
dark.
dark yet. Like it was
Mhm.
still sort of light. I could have stayed up till midnight. In the winter, 7:30. I'm like, I gotta go to bed.
I mean,
This
in
is
the
too late.
winter, I can be like, it's 7:00. Let's watch a movie. And you're like, we can't start a movie. It's 7
What
o'clock.
are you crazy?
What are you nuts?
What is this,
Nuts.
college?
Jesus, we're not 22 anymore,
Yeah, what
honey.
am I doing?
Once you hit a certain age, all movies are now miniseries.
Mm-hmm.
That's
They
smart.
take
I-
a couple
I
days
feel
to
you there.
finish.
So Pitta in general gives a lot of energy. It's the energy of the sun. It's the energy of fire, light, all of those things. And some people have an abundance of that energy regardless of what the season is. So if you're a person that needs very little sleep and can function, you probably have a high level of Pitta internally in your body.
Yeah, I can sleep
Like-
5 hours a night. I'm totally
Oh
fine.
my God, I would die.
I basically have been doing that for the last couple of
And
years.
yes, you
with my
have.
son,
Yeah,
so
I
it's
could-
like,
I
I'm
could
still
think of
kicking.
times when I could do that. So like maybe I had a little bit of more of this, you know. So just think about that too
In your life.
In my life,
Yes.
yeah. There was definitely a time where I could go with 5 hours of sleep, and that was totally fine. And then I switched to like, oh, I need like more sleep, and so yeah, it's just change of life.
Sneak
Well,
Change
what
of
did we just say?
Yeah.
What did you say? What are we, 22?
Yeah, what are
You
we,
know?
22 now?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Right,
from
right.
puberty
Mhm.
until, typically in like around 30, 35 years old, you're in Pitta time of life as well. So even if you don't intrinsically have a lot of Pitta element, the age group that you're in and hormonally
Mhm.
you are in your Pitta time of life.
Hmm.
And so that'll increase your Pitta as well. Like I didn't need as much sleep at 22 that I need now. Even though I'm not a Pitta person, there was an influx of Pitta. You said that you can go with about 5 hours
5,
of
6
sleep.
hours. Yeah, no problem.
Blair has a lot of Pitta.
Yeah.
Your partner has a lot of Pitta.
Yep.
Yeah, Sabrina. How much does Blair sleep?
That's the thing about it, because he does like to sleep, so he does get a good amount of sleep, but he's always up and has
Really early.
everything done before I even get up.
Sounds
Like
familiar.
now I just like
familiar.
open my eye a little bit and I'm like, where's he at with all the chores? No.
Yes, yeah. How's it been going? Yeah, that is how it is for us.
Yeah, really
too.
though. He doesn't mind it. He just gets up, has everything done.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Well, and from a hormonal perspective, testosterone is very Pitta in nature.
Makes sense.
You know,
Right, yeah.
testosterone is very Pitta in nature. So it's not uncommon that a person who has more masculine energy in a relationship is going to be the person that has like the get up early, get the things done early in the morning, when the person who has less of that hormone in their body is going to need to ease into their day a little
Yeah.
bit more.
Yeah.
And
Totally.
That's definitely us. I
That's-
think that's Francine
Oh
also.
yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
And even in Jess isn't here, but obviously I know her very well. Even with all of her Pitta, that Kapha aspect of her and the feminine energy aspect of her does not make for an early morning. She does not have that level of Pitta. So
And for me, being like Vata Kapha Vata, like it's important for me to have that routine in the morning. So like I do do the things that, you know, I need to do to keep me going and progressing with the day. And it is the days if I skip out on those things, things get a little wonky.
So Vata is
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
air
and ether.
and ether. So yeah, like now I'm just kind of processing what
Yeah.
you said. So like the routine structure can help balance that out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So many layers to this.
So many layers.
Like
So
I use sesame oil. I think you use Kapha oil, don't you? Yeah. And I mean, they say for Pitta, like maybe coconut oil or that's good for hydration of the skin. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yep. And I think so we've been talking a lot about like the physiological aspects of Pitta and then a little bit of the like sleep pattern energy levels. There are also Pitta ways of approaching doing things. And we all have a tendency to do this more so in Pitta season than other times of the year. Pitta energy doesn't like stillness
No.
at all. It can be actually pretty agitating
Oh, Francine hates it.
and like
She's like, "Will you sit down?" And I'm like,
no.
"Sorry, I
Yeah.
like, really don't want to."
Yeah.
Like, it's like there's like tons of things I can do right
Yeah.
now,
Right.
Yeah.
and I'm
Yeah.
gonna
Thanks.
do them. I have to do them. Like it's like she's
Yep.
like, "Stop working, stop cleaning." I'm like,
Can't
I
help
have to do it.
it's
Yeah.
sometimes me, but I think I've always attributed it to Vata.
Mm-hmm.
like
It
oh,
could
do
be.
this and do it, you know.
It
But
could
you probably
be.
get the things done.
Most
You-
of the time.
yeah.
A
Yeah.
lot of the time.
Yeah. So
Not just start 10 things and bounce
do that
around
too.
to
I
it.
do that
Oh,
too,
okay.
so this is an important
Yeah.
differentiation, right?
Yeah.
So Pitta wants to do the things, but wants to do the things in short bursts and complete them.
Yes.
And the short bursts is important because Pitta, left to its own devices, can't sustain a thing. It gets too bored with it. It would be similar in energetic feeling to being still because you're just doing the same thing
Yeah.
consistently. So like
that is totally what it feels
yeah.
like.
So like Pitta
So
is like,
true.
all right, so for an hour, I'm going to work in the garden. For the next hour, I'm going to clean the car. And then for half an hour after that, I'm going to like take a shower, get ready for the day. Then I'm going to do an hour of this. And it's like, it's these choppy little
Pretty
short
much it. Yeah.
bursts
100%.
of energy
Yes.
where, and those things are at least a significant step in the thing. Like I would argue gardening is never done.
Right.
A significant step has been completed in that short burst of energy. Whereas Vata will be like, oh, I'm going to read this chapter in this book. And, oh, I noticed that I want to clean off the table because there's a mess in front of me.
I
And
should probably go outside.
then I'm going to go outside because I haven't been outside at all
Yeah.
today. And
Oh
now
my
that
gosh,
I'm
I should
outside.
weed the garden.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I should go get the dogs.
And there's a lot of nothing
I should
getting
really go back
done,
inside and do that thing.
Yeah. Not
but a lot of
necessarily,
things getting
obviously.
started or
Yes.
thought about.
Right.
Yeah.
The mental energy is there.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to get that
Well,
fire to actually like kind
The
of
inspiration.
and also
Yes.
that
is there.
earth element to ground yourself to do the things.
Well, the
so-
earth element is the sustainable element.
Yeah.
Right?
Mhm.
So you have to think about it like a mountain. It's like the mountain is just going to be consistently there. So like my Achilles heel is I can do something for like 12 hours and get so hyper focused on that thing that nothing. There could be like children talking to me, Matt's talking to me. There's things like alarms going off. There's broccoli in the kitchen I'm burning. But I have settled into this zone of like kapha focus that it is unshakable. The opposite end of that though is that kapha can be inertia, like not even getting started at all.
Like, yeah.
So that's
Interesting.
tricky. But in the realm of Pitta specifically, this season is the time where like, oh, concert, I'm going to go to that. I'm going to go out to dinner with my friends. I'm going to do this. And like we find ourselves come like August 1st having this experience of like, I didn't get any break this summer because we did
Definitely.
everything.
Everything every day.
We said yes to everything.
Yeah.
And it was so much go, go, go. So the key to sustainable fire and not burning out is being able to take those conscious breaks, notice when it feels uncomfortable that you're taking a break and move through that discomfort.
Yeah.
And still setting aside the time to create groundedness and sustainability in the action that you so clearly have an abundance of this time of year.
Yeah.
I have a question. Does spending time around other people with a lot of pitta, does that make me have more pitta?
Yes.
Because my son,
like attracts like.
Yeah.
So.
it's like it's like we're like a multiplier. It's like
Yeah.
an exponential multiplier.
There's little
with each other.
dynamite
Yeah,
sticks.
it's just like us three just in the backyard. If people watch this, is the funniest thing ever because we're just going.
You need
Boys
to time
just-
lapse
I
video
should.
it.
I
for
should
sure.
definitely. Like I throw the boys into the bed like 200 times.
Oh, I
every
saw that
night,
video.
Like just
I
'cause
was like,
they
do
need
not.
it.
I was like,
They
I do
need
not
it
have-
so bad.
Uh-huh.
And
I
then
was
they
like,
calm
I
down.
don't wanna be
It's
on
like
either
they
end
have
of
to
that.
feel it. They have to enjoy it, and then like they're just like, okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's
But
the
it makes
thing.
me so hot. Like the
Right,
whole
right.
time. Even just looking at them, I start to sweat. It's like there's this body response to them waking up in the morning. When I see them, I'm like, oh God, here we go. You know, like there's like a
It's like WrestleMania
let's
time.
go. Yeah, exactly. So it definitely. I was wondering because I was like, man, I feel like ever since they've been born, it's like been that push like all the time, and I have that in myself, but it definitely is it feels like a multiplier.
Well, so there's two things that I want to comment on about that. The first one is young children under the age of 5 are still in Vata. Definitely under the age of 3. Between 3 and 5, it starts to move away. But they're in Vata time of life. They're brand new on the planet, right? They have brought in the ether with them
okay.
and the air with them. They're they're so connected to the ether. This is why so many babies don't sleep, because they're missing that kapha element. They haven't grounded into earthling bodies yet. So what could also be happening is they are the wind. They are the bellows blowing
Yeah,
your
that's
fire.
what it feels like.
They're like,
That's exactly-
let's get dad going. He's going to get all
It's like
amped if
everything
we
they
do
have
do
that
that.
makes
twin
me do more
connection,
things.
so-
Yeah.
You know, like every single element of them existing is something for me to do, which
Yes.
is like a perfect feeder
Yes.
for my pitta. Like, oh, you need a diaper? Great.
Yeah.
You know, like there's always a new task with them, you know,
Yes.
like which also is like perfect for me.
So my curiosity is, when you sleep, is it well?
Oh, yeah. It's like lights out, lights on. And I'm just like, oh, 5 hours. I'm like, what time is it?
Nice.
And I wake up at the same exact time every day,
Wow.
like no matter what.
So your pitta is being moved enough, because one of the biggest things that people who have a lot of pitta complain about is that they can't sleep, or their quality of sleep is so low. And that is an indicator that you're not moving enough in the wakeful hours of the day, because pitta people require so much action to like transmute that and to be able to come back down into a place of balance.
Yeah, when I
So-
don't have like a productive day,
Yeah.
I like can't sleep.
Yeah.
So that makes a lot of sense actually.
That's
Yep.
where, like, when Blair's off for a week from work, he's like, I'm actually excited to go back. He's
Oh,
like,
yeah,
I
that's
need to
me
move.
too.
He's
Oh,
like,
my
I need
God.
to, it's good for me to,
Keep
do
it
all
going.
the things.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Wow.
We don't have that.
No, I don't. I mean, it's so funny to hear how people manage this and like what they do. And it perfectly fits for your dosha, right? So I see this through my kapha earth, mostly earth. Like I have more earth than
Kapha pitta.
kapha pitta lens, and I'm like, oh my God, that sounds
Sounds
horrible.
exhausting,
Oh, yeah.
right? It
Exhausting.
sounds
Exhausting.
Like
exhausting.
nothing but movement. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, right? Whereas like if anyone who has a lot of vata or pitta, I'm just like, I could be sedentary for
Yeah.
hours doing something. And
Right.
just be like,
Right.
oh my God, I'm crawling out of my skin type thing. you
Well,
know?
that's why it's so funny because like we often seek the practices, like yogic practices, meditative practices, movement practices that actually don't balance
Right. Yeah.
our
That's
dosha.
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
the foods I like. Every
The foods. Are you eating spicy foods during
all the
Pitta
time.
season?
Probably,
It's like,
yeah.
Hot wings.
Yeah,
You
I
know.
like, we've talked about this before.
Uh-huh.
All of my favorite foods are like pushing me out of balance at every moment of my life, and so that's still something.
It's
I'm
really
working on.
tricky.
Yeah, it's hard.
It's really tricky. And so people who have a lot of fire, they tend to want to move towards fiery practice, which fire is a consistent alchemist. So you're always going to be doing alchemy and recalibration when you're working with the fire element. And yet the most efficient practice for people with Pitta would be stillness. Like the most efficient spiritual meditative practice. And it's very like yin yoga,
Mm-hmm.
you know, holding poses for a long time and just being and just being in the pose, right?
And
Like that's where the stretch is. That's
Yeah.
where the lesson is. The
Mhm.
rub is. Not doing, you
Not
know,
getting up and running up a hill.
Sahibi
Like
Kriya or
running up a hill with
running.
your dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you could do that
Uh-huh.
and then meditate in
And
the
then
afternoon
meditate after.
Right.
Yes.
to
Right.
create some balance, right? And like your
Oh, yeah.
practice is so sedentary.
Oh, yeah,
It
it's
is
my-
transcendental meditation. You are sitting,
Get me to my meditation cushion
Yeah.
ASAP so I can sit here for 20 minutes.
which
Yeah.
is great.
Yeah, what's great.
And
Right.
because of how much kapha you have, you really need like also Sahibi Kriya
Right.
or
That'll, well, I mean,
54 frogs, something.
yeah, that's a good thing to keep in mind. Like once we move out of summer into fall, because like
Right.
I'm loving the meditation, so
Yep.
I want to keep doing that. And
But
there
the
won't,
fire will plummet.
Right, there won't be the natural
Yeah.
fire of the season.
So
so
you could
like,
do
keep me
something
going.
before and then
Oh, it's
move
hard.
into that.
I'm
Yeah.
a lazy dude.
Where for me, I feel like I have to like turn on some music and
Mhm.
dance or
Mhm.
do any intuitive movement before I come to stillness afterwards.
Fun fact, if anybody's listening and you love the words intuitive movement, you are Vata. Just saying that. Just gonna put
Practice
that
with
out
me
That makes
10 o'clock
Yeah.
a.m. on Fridays.
I'm just telling you. If
For intuitive movement.
Intuitive
That's right.
movement sounds like
if you say that
dreamy.
phrase and it feels good.
Sounds so
But
dreamy.
it sounds amazing to you. You have a lot of Vata. And that's beautiful. And it isn't balancing your Vata.
Right.
It's not grounding your Vata. So
Mhm.
what again is the like what is
What
the
can you bring
seated
into-
practice? What is
yeah.
the stillness practice? I mean, I remember doing Vipassana meditation. And because the yoga community that I belonged to at the time was very like hot power yoga,
Mhm.
like
Mhm.
also very pitta.
Yeah.
Awful.
The worst.
Said the kapha.
Yeah.
Said the kapha. And a lot of people that were within that community were like, ooh, you know, Theravada Buddhism. And there was like this kind of like, let's all get curious about this and do a Vipassana retreat, which in Vipassana, you sit for 12 hours a day. I mean, you break for meals and to go to the bathroom, and there might be like a Dharma talk at night. But for the most part, you're sitting in stillness and silence.
Wow.
And you're not allowed to do anything. If it's your first retreat, and believe me, even with my very chill self, there were moments where I was like, I could mop the floor. Does anyone need the floor mop? Was it sweeping something?
I'm willing to
Dishes.
engage in the
How
most
about I do dishes?
unpleasant errand or activity
You know,
just to be
instead
able to
of
get
this.
up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Just let me do, I'll volunteer in the kitchen, right? And they won't let you at all. But for honestly, as much as the majority of the people that I knew there, not longtime practitioners, were coming unglued. They were like,
Huh.
Mhm.
if I have to sit for what? You know, like some of them left day 4, pieced out.
Wow,
like,
really?
I was like, are we just sitting on cushions
The
all
whole
day?
time?
This is great.
It's like, is this for real? Is it my birthday?
Love
Yeah,
this.
what's going
This
on
is
here?
my
Yeah.
birthday.
You know, and at the time, like I had 3 young children at home. It was the most peaceful vacation I had ever had in my whole life. I was like, I have been doing like even vacations. I'm bringing 3 children. I'm running around all over the
Vacations
place.
aren't
Nothing.
vacations.
Nothing was restful. I had never felt so someone just put food in front of me every meal, and I ate it, and then I
You're
went
like,
back to
"Thank
sitting
you,
down.
Bring me the grapes.
It was
Yeah.
amazing. And it wasn't a stretch in a lot of ways. Like there were some moments where I was like, can I just have a conversation with someone? Like
Yeah.
that part was the silence for so long.
I wonder
was
how
really
long it
hard.
would take me to get to that.
I know, I'm curious too.
It would take a long time.
I think it would take, I don't even know if it would come to that. I think you could be completely silent for 11 days and be fine.
Yeah. You know what? Sometimes it's funny. When I play golf in the morning, I often I'm talking out loud to myself
Oh yeah.
or my golf ball. I've also decided I need to start talking nicer to my golf ball because sometimes I like hit a shot. And I'm like, God, you son of a, what are you, mother? Gah. And I had this thought on the 17th hole like 2 weeks ago. I'm like,
Be your friend.
I gotta be nicer to my balls.
You know?
Gotta be nice to your balls, honey.
Yeah. So even yesterday, I hit a
That's
shot.
a good lesson for today.
And like,
I'm gonna be nicer to your balls.
I was halfway.
Be nice to your balls.
I was halfway through the shot. Was in midair. I'm like, come on, you
Why do you all do this to
awesome,
me?
awesome.
Yeah, you
guy.
can do it. You can do it.
Yeah.
Go the right way.
Go, little Johnny.
Well, that's a benefit of playing early,
Whatever.
though. You
That's
can take as
true.
many mulligans as you like.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I bring like 40 balls. It's like,
Right. Oh,
I'm
yeah.
home with 5. It's like, all right, well, didn't find any of them.
Hey, those balls are expensive. You
They
don't have
are,
to come
though.
in home with 5 balls.
Oh, well,
I had friends that I think I shared this before, that they wanted me to go golfing with them. It was like
Oh,
some
yeah, they were your
some
students.
clients that I had, some
Mhm.
students, and then I'm out there, it's hot, and I was just like, I got to the day one day, and I was like, I'm just gonna be honest, I don't think this game's for me.
Yeah.
Like,
It's not for
hot
many.
out
walking,
here,
or
and-
were you in a golf cart?
what was the question?
Like, were you walking from hole to hole? Or were
no,
you
it was in a golf cart. Yeah,
Was that part fun though?
that part was fun.
That
Yeah.
part is fun.
I mean, and
The
I
best
did.
part.
I liked shooting the balls, but it was like waiting. It was hot.
Yeah. Right.
Waiting. Yeah, the waiting.
Right.
There's a lot
Yeah.
of waiting.
So just so you
Yeah.
know, the expensive ones, I'll
I'm out there
start
like with my head
with
on
one
it,
of the good ones.
going in a circle.
If I lose that, I immediately go to the less expensive ones.
okay.
Yeah, I buy the
don't-
cheapest balls I can
Oh
get.
yeah.
Yeah, every
This-
time.
And
Just
then
like
every-
packs
yeah.
of 50.
Yeah.
No, I like to buy him fancy balls.
Every now and then,
Yeah.
like
Well, it's good to treat yourself, for
Right.
sure, because those balls go farther and
They-
they fly straight.
And then they
in.
have
really
special things like the pegs that go in and
oh yeah.
you
So
know,
like it's this
I
time
had,
of year
like,
where
a
I'll really start using them.
springy one.
Like I
and-
won't use them much in late April, May. Like I want to get
Oh,
my
okay.
game kind of thing. So I'm
Uh-huh.
like, but if I once I lose one of those, I'm like, we'll just switch to the other ones. It's fine.
Mm.
But to go back to what was I saying? Oh, when I'm not talking to myself out loud or to my balls, I have had the thought, I wonder how long I could go just being silent
Mhm.
and like not saying a word. And I usually have that thought around hole 3 or 4.
Yep.
Like, oh, I've been talking to myself out loud for 25 minutes. If I thought of it on hole 1, I would try to do it as like a challenge. Like, could I be silent an entire round?
But you know, Pitta fire in particular is very vocal. It's very vocal and it's very loud.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the ways. So we have 3 children, and because the universe is hilarious, the oldest one is Pitta, the middle one is Vata, and the youngest one is Kapha.
That's pretty cool.
And watching the 3 of them develop like language and communication. Our oldest child has 1 volume at all times. Our oldest and only at the moment, grandchild only has 1 volume. I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
she's Pitta.
She is.
She is Pitta. Like verbal communication, animated
Oh, yeah.
communication, loud vocal tones, all signs of Pitta. All signs of Pitta. She wakes up in the morning. You know how sometimes you must have a morning voice, right? I feel like you wake up very quiet in the morning.
Yeah.
And then like you come into it, right?
Mhm.
That is a very Vata thing, right? Kapha people just have a minimal word bank for the day.
Yep.
Like I remember, like us on retreat together.
Oh yeah.
Like we would just
Not
have
talk.
coffee
Yes.
and not talk.
I'm like,
And I was like,
we're both in the kitchen.
I love this person.
We might be like I'm making coffee and
it's
I'm
we don't
like,
have to talk right now. Okay.
I'll do this. Like I see you and it's good morning, but I'm just gonna, we're not talking yet.
Nothing to say yet.
There's nothing
Yeah.
that needs
Yeah.
to be said into my ears right now.
Right.
So yes, like that. But Pitta energy wakes up, like you said, Josh, like you wake up and you hit the ground running.
I go.
Like
yeah,
there's
right away.
no
Yes.
yeah, there's no like I also just think it's funny because every time Josh responds to something in Slack, it's like fire
Fire.
emoji, fire
Every time,
emoji.
every time.
And I'm always
It
like,
is. It
yes,
is
we
by
need
fire.
this.
That's right. Let's go.
Fire emoji.
Pushing it up.
Are there
Yeah.
mountains emojis? Is that what you're
Rock
using there?
emoji.
Mount
Yeah,
Rock,
there is,
good.
yeah.
Rock emoji. Yep.
But it's a indicator, right, of like a lot of pitta. So in the summertime, you might notice that communication comes more easily to you, and like you walking around talking to yourself on the golf course has also
Yeah.
translated to talking to yourself in the house. You don't do that in the wintertime.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I
You
t-
don't have
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 you been
less
sneaky listening to me talk to myself in the house? Have you just been
I
hiding?
mean,
What do you mean?
coexist.
I don't know. I don't really. Do I do it a lot when you're around?
I mean, sometimes I have to pause and be like, is he talking to me or is he talking to himself or is he talking to the dog?
Yeah,
Oh,
like
true.
any of those three things. So like
that's
my
also
ears,
Blair, and I'm literally like, I don't know what you're saying. Like,
Is he like, I'm not even talking to you?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Sometimes you're like, I wasn't talking to
Yeah.
yeah.
to you. Oh, don't mind me. I'm just talking to myself. I'm like, no shit. I've been listening to you for 20 minutes. But you don't do that in the wintertime.
Really?
Like
Huh, that's funny.
more quiet sets in.
Yeah.
So like
See that?
in a magic wand world, right? We would plan things, produce things, cultivate seeds of things in the summertime. We're not harvesting them. We're not seeing them to fruition, right? We're storing that energy, harvesting it in Vata season in the fall, and then
It's like
we're-
squirrels or bears.
yes,
you know,
exactly.
Like, they all have their own season,
but
so
we have to do it with
we have to do with
energetic currency.
energetic, and also like what works for us, because
Right.
we're all energetically individuals. So.
Because otherwise, February rolls around, March rolls around, and everyone's running on fumes
Mhm.
because they're trying to keep up the communication level, the
Yep.
movement level, the productivity level of the summer months and fall months when it's dark. And
Yeah.
that doesn't work.
Yeah.
So seasonal changes, man.
Yeah, my winter, I can't, like, it's so funny. Whenever I go outside, I'm like, damn it, I got to put my jacket on. Because when
Yeah.
I put my jacket on, I start to sweat. Like, no
Yeah.
matter what, how
Wow.
cold it is outside, I can go outside and it's sweatshirt and shovel. No problem.
Wow.
I'll never get cold.
Yeah,
Wow.
just clothing is just interesting in that, like, I touched on it earlier about like what I wore to Reggae Fest. You know, I love to wear linen. I like
Linen's
it.
key.
It's
Oh my
breathable, or cotton. I like those. It's just, you know, they say like there's no such thing as bad weather, just not appropriate clothing. So it's like you just have to adjust.
I feel your
And
eyeballs.
and even if even like as a person who aesthetic and everything, right? I've like learned to love my natural hair because it's gonna fire me up. You know, I go out, do my hair, and then I go outside and it's like this. Like, what's the point of doing
Doing
it?
it. Yeah.
There's no point in doing it. And then I get mad, you know, like
Uh-huh.
Sabrina before. So, you know, you'll see seasons change, wear my hair different. I wear different clothes, and it's, you know, to keep myself comfortable. Otherwise, it starts to trickle into my internal, and then I start to react to, you know, situations and things in different ways.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, it might sound silly, but it's an element of keeping yourself comfortable in your body, in your energy.
Yeah. And it
Yeah.
has to be a conscious decision to do these things. Like it has to be. And I, Kapha, am stubborn. And one of the things, like, I don't like the feeling of socks, which is why Matt made that comment earlier. I don't like coats. I don't
Oh.
like any of these extra.
You live in the wrong part of the world
I-
for those two feelings.
You know?
Well,
I
I don't know.
what I have
Should we
found
branch
though,
out?
what I have found though is I like capes.
Ooh, I love
I like cloaks.
You do like cloaks.
It's like
capes.
lots of sleeves on my arm is agitating. Lots of binding of my feet. So like socks and then boots and then like things touching my ankles. Too many things touching my ankles. It feels so
Yeah.
restrictive. Which is why I
I've never
love
thought of things touching my ankles.
No, not
I've never
ever.
thought of that before in my
Never
life.
once.
Literally never had a
but
thought of
everybody
it's
has
that
my
funny
ankles.
thing when people are like, I go home, I take my bra off,
Yes.
you know,
You take off everything.
take off everything.
I mean,
Constriction.
truthfully, truth
I
be
get that,
told.
for sure.
But everyone has their sensory things.
Yeah,
too.
mine is
Yeah,
the sweat
yeah.
thing.
Yours is a sweat thing.
Yeah.
You know, Pitta season pouring into the eyeballs. Like
Yep.
that is a very much a
Or
sensory.
if I
It
know
is,
I'm
so.
gonna be hot, it's a hot day. I like to be able to wet my hair. Like throughout the day,
yeah.
like you'll see, I'll come back out of the bathroom and I'll be like,
This is true about you.
yeah, I'll wet my
I'm
hair
just
and everything.
realizing.
It really helps me to stay comfortable,
See, now,
temperature and all the things.
That's
these
awesome. It's a good
conversations
idea.
good just so when we see coworkers be like, what the hell did you just
How'd
do?
your hair
Yeah.
get wet?
What is that?
There she is.
Jump
Why
in
are
the
you
pool?
wearing a hat in August?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a magic
yes.
hat.
Just
Yeah,
an
yeah.
It's my
abundance
cooling
of
hat.
understanding
Yeah.
is being cultivated.
That's
True.
right.
Love it.
And it's those times when we're like, try it, it works. It might not work for
It
you.
might
not
It
work
might
for
not
you.
work for you.
It might not work.
For me, the biggest takeaway right now is remembering to do things that necessarily will complement like your dosha, not necessarily lean into what your dosha is.
Right.
Like don't lean into the earth too much. Do something to count, like
Mhm.
to balance that.
Yeah.
Again, the other personality typing things, you kind of lean into your type a little bit.
Yeah.
This one is almost,
I like to really think about the three together and ultimately, like, to me, like wanting to keep those three in balance,
Yeah.
keep them in harmony,
And that's
not have too much of one or too little of the other, to keep it in harmony.
And that's the bigger picture. And they're never in balance.
Right.
Like they are never
Yeah.
going
They're
to
exactly
be
how-
in
yeah.
balance because of all the variables that are
Right.
that are shifting and changing. So a good question would be like, what element is the most present today? Am I feeling more fire? Am I feeling more water? Am I
Yeah.
feeling more earth? Am I feeling more
We
air
didn't really
or ether?
touch on too much, but like anger practice, like, you know, because
Yeah, we ran out of. I think we're running out of
Yeah.
time
Oh, yeah.
to discuss that. So we'll have to do a midsummer part 2 around like the emotions
Oh
of
my God.
Pitta.
Yeah.
Because the emotions, like
Yeah.
like guys, you know, you want to have hard conversations in like January.
Seriously. For real. For real.
Yeah.
Like you want to because it's so easy to feel like you're that shaken kombucha bottle, right? That's just gonna like explode.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
we'll have to do a part
Yeah.
2 on Pitta season and emotion.
Or just in general, like, yeah, emotions. For
yeah, I guess
dosas.
today was
Yeah.
more like,
Physical.
physical. Like it was
Physicality.
food, it
Mhm.
was physical movement, things
Mhm.
like that. Ooh,
keep it in
emotions.
check. Keep it
Interesting.
in balance.
Mm.
It's gonna be dope.
It's gonna be
Stay
dope.
tuned.
Stay tuned.
Keep your
Gonna
eyes
be-
open.
It's gonna be fire.
It's a teaser.
It's
That's
gonna
right.
be
It's gonna be fire. That's right.
It's
Let's
gonna
go.
be fire.
FYRE.
R-E.
Fire.
This
Have
is
to be unique, don't you?
No, FYAH.
This is
Yes,
Wi-Fi.
that's better.
Fire.
This
Yes,
is Wi-Fi
fire.
podcast.
I like that one better. I love it. Yeah, stay tuned for the next installment of what, anger practice?
Who knows?
We'll see.
And
We'll
see
see.
what happens.
Pitta emotion. Stay
See how we
tuned.
feel that day.
I love it.
I love it too. This is Matt.
This is Jeannie.
This is Sabrina.
And this is Joshua.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks. Bye.